morning and welcome to Morning Coach. Today, I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. It's February 19th. It's a Monday, and we are ready to take it on. I got a good one for you today, and we got a good one this week. We're going to be talking about willpower and discipline, and there is a lot going on, as always. And, you know, the idea here is to make sure you're getting what you need to stick with the program, to do the things you need to do day in and day out, okay? So when I give you things and I say, hey, we're doing this or doing that, you don't have to do any of it. I really want to stress that. If you're like me with OCD, I got to do everything. I'm a collector. I want all the stuff. Don't do that here. We're here to give you support and support a lot of different people doing a lot of different things. And I want to make sure you're doing the basics, right? So the basics are listen to CoachCast. Well, let's take some time for self-care. First thing, listen to CoachCast and then plan your day with the 7 Ps. And then if you're using the planner, great. If you're taking a picture, great. If you're getting in the community, great. But the main thing, where the value is in our coaching, right? So making sure you're here and making sure you're doing your 7 Ps. And the 7 Ps are have the proper perspective, set the daily priorities, focus on improved performance, always have patience, keep great posture, stay present, and persist, right? And we're in this PDCA where we're checking our plan and we're executing together. That's the foundational thing, okay? Then everything else that I'm going to talk about, there's so many things going on, that's stuff that you can do, which includes meetups. So let's talk about meetups. So we have on Wednesday, this Wednesday, February 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you can make it, this will be recorded, is the meeting on the second brain. So we're going to be talking about second brain systems, okay? And that's a very important thing, but it's an advanced thing. It's not something you have to jump into. We're doing our book study on it again. But it's something that, you can think about, what am I using for my second brain? Okay, we're going to talk about that. We got to, and it's a good way to network. So that's one thing we go on. Then I added some meetups. Now, this is really important. And again, Monday's our organizational day. If you want to network with other people, and there's people that do, and you want to connect with other people, I've set up a meeting every other week. Now, listen, this is not a Morning Coach meeting. It's a Morning Coach community meeting. So you know our rules, no selling in there, making sure you work together, being responsible. You know the rules, and they're in the meetup area. These are social meetings, so you can come. Doesn't mean I'm going to be there. I might stop by. I might not stop by. It's a social meeting to meet other members around the world. And we've got one Friday, February 23rd at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that would kind of be the domestic afternoon one when people want to get together. It might be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got to check that. But you can find this in the meetup area. And then we have one March 1st, I know this for a fact, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the Friday one, I believe, is at 6 p.m. I got to check it. I believe we were requested to do 6 p.m. And then we have one at 10 a.m. So every other week, we're going to try to figure out some time. So we've got one in kind of the early evening or afternoon for those of you on the West Coast. And then we've got a 10 a.m. for people that are international every other week. Those are in the meetup area. So again, this is just added bonus. This is stuff you don't need to do, but if you want to network, there are meetups in there, and you can sign up and you get notifications. You can go in there, and it's just in the community in the live room. You can watch from your phone. That's pretty cool. Okay. That's our community. And again, you don't have to be a part of that, but if you want to do that, hey, it's there. Some other things that are going on. I'm working on a really awesome manual for you. It's a book, a manual. And if you have any life-changing stories, I've mentioned this and I'm going to continue to mention it. Anything that has really changed your life, something like, wow, JB, that was a great tool, send that to me at info@morningcoach.com if you want to be a part of that book. Okay. I think it's going to be a great book and it's going to be good. And if you want to stay anonymous, you can stay anonymous, but I want those life-changing stories. It helps me. Okay. Weekend checkup. Not sure if you did it. Remember, that's something you can do on Sunday. You can do it today. Just quick. Where are you at? What's going on? And again, this is a check month. So we're kind of looking at our plan so that we can get into March. We're mid-month right now, March, and just really kill it. So, January's to come out of it. We're all hyped up. We're ready to go. We've got all these plans, and they kind of fall different directions. Some work, some don't. And this is a time where we kind of pick it up. And to me, that's why I love December planning, because it's like, okay, we're going to kill it. We're all excited. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And then you go out of the gate and you're 3-3. Your team you lost a few games, you won a few games, and you're not undefeated, and nobody's undefeated. And so we take a look at it and go, okay, now we're ready for the next part of the season. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, a couple other things that we're getting into our willpower. I'm working on a new quiz for thought process. So our step one that we've always had is the thinking quiz. You'll see information on that. I'm really into that right now, and also on the mission-driven side of that. With that being said, when I'm putting all that together, we're also working on, and you guys will love this that are in our belt system, the purple and brown belt curriculum. Finally getting that ready. I know there's some blue belts waiting for that. We've got some curriculum coming for you, so just keep an eye out for that. All right, let's get into it today. Excited of what we're doing. There's, like I said, don't get too, how do I want to put this? Don't get too overwhelmed because there's just a lot happening. The system is actually here to make things easier for you. And so depending on what, where you're at, we got people that are just getting started, and we have people that have been here 19 years. So there are 18 years. There's a balance there, right? So it's like some of the people that have been here and, they've got their black belt and they've been doing all this stuff and working on all this stuff. They're ready for some advanced stuff. So I'm going to bring that. Then there's people that are just getting started. I'm like, well, slow it down. You'll get there. Okay. It's just like any other, let's equate it to martial arts. You don't get your black belt the day you step in the studio. You got to work through things. You got to learn. And as you learn, it's going to get better, and the system just gets better. So you're in a great place. That's the first thing. And the second thing is we're getting in this willpower and discipline area. So willpower and discipline, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I really enjoy this week and this topic. It's something that I've always worked with. I've failed in many areas of my life because I didn't have the discipline or the willpower. And the idea is, can you build willpower? Is it a muscle? Is it something that you can build? Okay, just a quick break here. Thank you for listening to our Monday free Coachcast. As always, excited you're with me. We've been doing this a long, long time. Good energy, great energy, and our systems are just off the charts. World's best productivity coaching, very inexpensive as compared to going and hire a coach. You can come over to Morning Coach and get started and literally get the coaching, the structuring, and the planning so you're not chasing things. You're not, going all over the place, and really get what you need, the motivation, the structure, the energy, day in and day out. Yes, it's an investment in yourself, but where are you going to invest and find this type of coaching in the world for what we do? It's nowhere. So love to have you get involved with us. It's a really awesome time to get started early in the year. And this is, you get around people all over the world that are making the world a better place. And your investment, not only does it, help you in the scope of things, but it also allows us to build systems and tools to make the world a better place, which is what it's really all about. So let's go out there, have a great day. Thank you for listening. Go over to morningcoach.com. No ads. Every single day you can work with me. Great opportunity to work at a very inexpensive rate, and it's the world's best productivity system. There's nothing better. Okay, so we'll see you over at morningcoach.com. You can listen to the rest over there. If not, for those of you that's hang in there, and you can listen to the rest right here. And the truth is, you really can. It's something that you can gain discipline, and you can really get willpower in your life. I think of an old story I used to tell years ago, and people like this story, is I didn't eat cheesecake for years. This is a true story. And probably in my 20s, I didn't eat cheesecake. I grew up in Indiana, small town. I mean, I'm here now. We've got a retreat center. I actually enjoy it. I like being here. I'm away from everybody. It's not the hustle and bustle. I can kind of focus on creating and working on things. Took me a while to mentally get there, right, after this change. I'm going back to Florida a bunch, but it's nice to be here. Mom's going through some health issues, and to be here for her is really great. But with that being said, we grew up, we didn't have, cheesecake was not a thing in our life. I mean, it wasn't something we did. So when I got to Florida, it was like people, you had Cheesecake Factory. And I used to think people were nuts because I'm thinking cheddar cheese. And I'm thinking cheddar cheese on cheesecake, right? I'm like, what? Who eats? And then I'm thinking strawberries on cheddar cheese. Like, I couldn't comprehend that. You talk about perspective. Like, that's like perspective. Like, when I grew up in LaPorte, I used to think that Chicago was so far away. It's 45 minutes. Like, when I used to drive that to work every day in Miami. I used to drive 2 hours, basically, if traffic was bad. But when I was a kid, I used to think, oh, my gosh, the White Sox game we're going to go to is so far away. Same thing. When I was young, I didn't know what cheesecake was. I used to look at people, and I just cringe. I can't believe you're eating that. And then one day, somebody said, you got to try this cheesecake. And I was holding my nose. I'm like, no, I can't believe, no, you're going to love it. And guess what? I fell in love. I couldn't believe the vanilla creamy taste of it and how good it was. I was like, I was missing out on this my entire life. And I was only 20 something, but still, I was like, this is amazing. So what the heck does this have to do with willpower? Well, one of the things I used to like to do is I would get a piece of cheesecake because now I love cheesecake. I don't eat it that much, right? But I do love it. If I can get a good piece of cheesecake, wow, it's just delicious. And it's not cheddar cheesecake, by the way. But I would take that cheesecake and I would bring it home from Cheesecake Factory and I would put it in the fridge. And basically what I would do is test my willpower. So the willpower was I wanted to eat that cheesecake, but I needed to get things done. So I was literally working myself to make sure I was having the willpower to not eat that cheesecake. And then I would use that cheesecake kind of as a carrot to say, okay, when you get these things done, you can have your cheesecake. Okay, so you can have your cake and eat it too. But the idea is you can build willpower. You can do fun games like that, ice cream, different things that you enjoy to eat, different things. Delayed gratification is how we build willpower. Delayed gratification. Now, we may be thinking, what about some of the really tough stuff? Alcohol. As you know, I'm not drinking. It's been great. Alcohol, maybe cigarettes, right? Some of those things where we get an addiction to. There you might need professional help, and I'm totally cool with that. I always tell you that. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one here. I'm not a therapist. I don't play one, but you may need some professional help. But for me, I've been able to make the decision and say, okay, I'm not going to drink. And how do I do that? I do some replacement. So I use these hard ketones that I really enjoy. If I really want to drink something, I'll drink a couple of those. If I go to a concert, I'll actually take some with me, and that's just my thing. So replacement's really key. But the important thing here is to understand day by day. This is what's so critical. When I started MorningCoach years ago, it was all about 1% improvement every day. And just like we're improving this system every day, by 2025, it's going to be just even better. And we're all in on this, right? So every day we just get better. But the idea is day by day. So when you have willpower and you look at the cheesecake, or you don't want to drink, or you don't want to smoke, or whatever it is that you don't want to do, or maybe you want to do something, you do it for that day. You do it for that day. When I was training with Sir, Mike Lee Kanarick, for those of you who don't know, is ex-Israeli Special Forces, and we did some wolf training and stuff, 40 hours, no food, no sleep, some really intense training, swimming across Blackwater, middle of the night with all of our gear on after a 10-mile hike. I mean, just crazy stuff. One of the things I learned in doing that is that, you can do anything for 5 minutes. And my brain would just click. I can do anything for 5 minutes. Those of you that we have some awesome military leaders here now listening. We got all kinds of people. We know that, right? We all know we can get through things. And that's the key. If we can focus on just that day. So whatever we're working on to have a little bit of willpower and discipline, maybe it's, organizing our systems, maybe it's, doing our job, maybe it's producing content. That's something I'm working on. Just do it that day. Don't get so far ahead of yourself. The consistency area I've got, I love it. And I like the game of seeing if you can beat how many days in a row that you've done. But now, like with alcohol, because I'm not really trying to beat the days, I just check it off. I'm not even worried about it. I'm not like, okay, I'm 50 days not drinking. But it is nice to know if you want to play that game, you can. But for me, it's just day by day. It's not about the number. It's about today. Does that make sense? So it'll really help you in the things that you're looking to do that you start to understand just today. Now, I got to tell you, Jurgen fired me up. We had a mastermind meeting, and Jurgen taught us about SOPs a few weeks ago. We're going to be bringing some of that knowledge and things into our into the belt system. Jurgen's awesome, engineer, doing great things and helping the system. And looking at his SOPs, as we were going through that, we were talking about a few other things, and he motivated me also to look at time blocking. And I am not a big time blocker. It's something I haven't done, and it's just something that, I like freedom. I like to be free to do what I want when I want. But I got to tell you, I started time blocking recently, and it just adds to discipline. I got this clock that I can flip. So it's like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm going to write for 60 minutes. And what I've found is, like Gary V says, Gary's a friend of mine from years ago. He says, people waste 4 hours a day. I mean, we all do. We all waste so much time. And doing some time blocking, I'm like, wow, this makes sense. So when I start my day now, I'm like, okay, you're going to do this for this long. And then I flip the time, and it really is helping me. It's really helping me stay disciplined. And I think there's some tools we can utilize to do that. And there's different timing methods. There's different ways to do it. 50 minutes on, 10 minutes off is something we've always taught. But I've never been that dedicated to an actual system. I don't want this on my calendar, okay? It's like when I sit down and I'm going, okay, I'm going to do YouTube for 60 minutes. I'm going to study for 50 minutes. Then I'm using a timer. So that's something that it's an advanced thing that you can do in your productivity. You want to talk about in the community, we can. But time blocking is really cool. And also SOPs, we'll get into that a little bit more, but those are really having standard operating procedures for the things you do. Jürgen motivated me because he's got his evening routine. He cleans his desk. He's got, all those things he's doing. He's really took a lot of our system structure and brought it into his own. And it's just really cool to see. And we'll see if we can get him to share more and more as he shares his system. But everybody is about your own individual system, right? But the SOP is a disciplined way to say, okay, these are the things I'm going to do today. Now, here, a lot of people get constraints with that, right? They're like me. They're like, I don't want all that structure. And it's not so much about structure. See, I'm very free-flowing. So it's not about structure. I don't want it in my calendar. I don't want anything there. But having a checklist and having the ability to time block really does make you more efficient. It does. And I get it. Some of us fight that tooth and nail. Some of us love that. Some people love that. Like Jürgen loves you should see how meticulous he is with things. I don't want that level, but I do like the ability to have that discipline to say, okay, I'm going to work on this for 50 minutes instead of wasting some time. And I'm finding myself wasting a little too much time, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, whatever, because I'm doing these big social media pushes. It's like I need to be a creator, not a consumer. And so I'm doing that with time blocking. And we're going to get into that more and more. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about discipline, good or bad, and some of the things that we're doing in order to do that. But I want you to be thinking about that. And we'll get into it in depth. And finally, I think one of the things we need to do to have more willpower and more discipline is we need better hobbies and projects. We need better hobbies and projects. We need inspiration. We talked about in spirit the last couple of weeks. We need to make sure we're doing things that inspire us, that get us going, because then the willpower is not that difficult. Then we don't need that much discipline. Believe me, if you've ever raised children, and I obviously coach all different types of people, even some young people, everybody wants to do what they want to do. I get it, but there's sometimes you got to do those things you don't want to do. So you want to do more things that give you energy and do less things that take energy. But when you got to do those things that take energy, remember Mark Twain taught us this, and we've talked a lot about it, the eating the frog. If you got to eat 2 frogs in the morning, Mark Twain says, do it first thing in the morning, get it out of the way. And that's really what we're talking about, having the discipline to do your 7 Ps, do your organization, focus on your 1% improvement, and just keep moving forward, okay? So keep it simple. Don't get crazy with this, okay? This is a process. It takes time. Just sponge it all up. Continue to work your system. You want to get more involved, we can take it in depth. That's what's awesome about this coaching program. You can do all these other things that we're talking about, the belt system. You can get involved with us in our meetups. But remember, keep the basics in place as you're doing all that stuff. Please take time for self-care. Listen to CoachCast. Mondays are critical. Try to get 5 days a week in. If you get more, that's great. Plan your day with the 7 Ps. Make sure you're getting the right perspective and the right priorities, and stay organized with whatever planning system you're doing. You do that, you're going to do great. And you jump in and take the picture, get in the community, all those other things, fantastic. But let's keep it simple and let's stay productive. Okay? Go out there and have a great one. And I will be back right here tomorrow on Morning Coach as we're continuing building a second brain. I'm loving this book, by the way. Really changing the way I'm thinking about things. Okay, do it to it. Go have a phenomenal day. I'll see you tomorrow.